They hate you, don't they? It burns them from the inside out, an unrelenting flame fueled by their own shame. But why? What have you done to warrant such scorching disdain? Oh, it's not what you've done, it's what you are. You're the living proof that their arsenal of tricks, lies, and manipulations wasn't enough. They had crafted their game so meticulously, each move designed to ensnare you in their intricate web of deceit. In their minds, you were supposed to falter, to crumble under the weight of their schemes. And yet, you didn't. Instead, you slipped through their grasp like smoke through clenched fists. Untouchable, unbroken. You stood tall when they threw their worst at you, and now their hatred festers because you dared to defy the rules of their game. The audacity of your resilience. It wasn't supposed to be this way, was it? In their twisted narrative, you were meant to crumble, to kneel, to beg for mercy. That's how they wrote the script. But you wrote it entirely. Instead of bowing, you smiled. A calm, defiant smile that wasn't just an act of courage, but a declaration of war. You rose higher, leaving them dumbfounded, their carefully crafted illusions shattered at their feet. They hated you for it. How could someone like you exist in their world of petty games and false personas? They thought they had mapped out your limits, tested every boundary, and calculated your breaking point. Yet, all they uncovered was a strength they couldn't even begin to fathom, a resilience so profound that it rendered their every tactic useless. And now, their hatred isn't just hatred, it's laced with frustration, envy, and a deep-seated bitterness that consumes them whole. The ego they couldn't protect. Oh, the audacity of you. To refuse to be a pawn in their twisted little chess game. You saw through their moves, called their bluffs, and tore their strategy apart. You didn't just escape. You exposed their playbook, leaving them vulnerable and seething. Their hatred, you see, isn't just about you. It's about what you represent. They built their entire identity on control, on being the puppet master, and you cut the strings and walked away without so much as a backward glance. Their ego is in shambles now, reeling from the sting of being outplayed by someone who wouldn't even stoop to their level. They prided themselves on being clever, on always being the one to outwit and dominate. But they didn't account for you, did they? Someone who wouldn't engage, wouldn't play their game, and certainly wouldn't break under their pressure. Now, their hatred is a constant reminder of their own inadequacy, a bitter pill they choke on every day. The mirror they can't shatter. Their hatred isn't really about you, it's about the reflection you forced them to see. You became a mirror, didn't you? One they couldn't shatter, no matter how hard they tried. Every scheme, every manipulation, every venomous word, they weren't weapons to hurt you. They were desperate attempts to hide from their own flaws. But the harder they pushed, the clearer the reflection became. In you, they saw everything they lacked: strength, integrity, and the courage to rise above. It's easier for them to hate you than to face themselves. Hatred is their distraction, their shield against the truth. After all, it's far less painful to blame you than to confront the cracks in their own foundation. And you walked away, didn't you? That's what really tears at them. Not your defiance, not your victories, but the simple fact that you left them behind, taking their power over you with you. The freedom that cuts deep. You chose freedom. You didn't stay to fight, to argue, or to validate their petty games. No, you chose peace, your peace, and that choice. Oh, it was a dagger to their fragile pride. They had built their traps so intricately, convinced you'd be ensnared, struggling and gasping for air under their control. But instead, you stepped over their games with the ease of someone who knows their worth. That's what kills them the most. You didn't need them. Their power, their approval, their manipulation, it held no sway over you. And now, their hatred is nothing more than a mask for their envy. Deep down, They wish they had what you have. The strength to rise, the clarity to walk away, and the audacity to thrive without them. It's ironic, isn't it? The very freedom they loathe in you is the same freedom they crave for themselves but will never dare to reach for. The power you took back. Their hatred is rooted in one undeniable truth. You took your power back. Their entire strategy revolved around bending you, shaping you, making you dance to their tune. And yet, you refused. You showed them what true power looks like. Not the power to control others, but the power to control yourself. You didn't yell. You didn't retaliate. You simply walked away. And that's a power they can't comprehend. Their games were designed to dominate, to make you feel small, but you turned the tables by choosing to disengage. Now, their ego is in ruins, crumbling under the weight of its own inadequacy. Every step you take forward, every smile you wear, and every victory you achieve is a reminder that their tactics failed. You didn't just escape their grip. You dismantled their illusion of control. They hate you not because of what you've done, but because of what they couldn't do. Break you. The power they could never grasp. They tried to paint you as the villain, didn't they? Twisted the narrative, turned it all around to make it seem like you were the one at fault, the one who was wrong. But here's the truth, my friend. Truth always finds a way to shine through, no matter how much they try to bury it under lies and manipulation. Their attempts to distort the story are unraveling, slowly but surely. And now, they're left exposed, vulnerable, and full of hatred, not towards you, but towards themselves. Every lie they told, every move they made to control and dominate you, it's all coming back to haunt them. They can't escape it. They can't outrun the fact that you saw through them, refused to play their game, and walked away. The more they fester in their hatred for you, the more they reveal the depth of their own insecurities. They hate you because you didn't just survive their games, you transcended them, and now, that's a reality they'll never be able to accept. The silence that screams the loudest. They hate your silence most of all. Oh, how they crave a reaction from you, some acknowledgement of their existence, even if it's anger or disdain. But you've given them nothing. That silence of yours, it speaks louder than any words ever could. It echoes in their minds, filling the void they so desperately wanted you to stay trapped in. They replay those moments over and over, searching for clues, grasping at straws, asking themselves, where did we go wrong? But they know the answer. They've always known it. You didn't give them the satisfaction of an argument, a fight, or even a bitter goodbye. Instead, you chose absence, and that absence, oh, it's deafening. It leaves them with nothing to cling to, no string to pull you back, no justification for their actions. Their hatred festers in that emptiness because they realize you've done the one thing they never expected. You've taken away their power over you. Every moment they spend consumed by thoughts of you is another victory for your silence. You've become an unshakable presence in their minds, a ghost that refuses to fade. And that infuriates them because it's not your words or actions haunting them. It's the void you left behind. A void they can't fill, no matter how hard they try. The chains they forge for themselves. Their hatred has become a chain, a heavy, unyielding weight that they carry everywhere. But here's the truth they refuse to admit. Those chains, they forged them themselves. Every lie they told, every manipulation they tried, every bitter thought they harbored, they're links in a prison of their own making. And while they remain bound, you've walked away free. That freedom, your freedom, is their greatest torment. They tell themselves stories to cope, convincing anyone who will listen that you're the villain, the ungrateful one, the problem. But those stories are fragile, cracking under the weight of their own contradictions. In the quiet moments, when no one is watching, the mask slips. Their hatred isn't just directed at you, it's turned inward, a festering wound that refuses to heal. You see, they needed you to stay, not because they cared, not because they valued you, but because you were their anchor, their scapegoat, their excuse for not confronting the emptiness within themselves. Without you, they're left alone with their own reflection, a reflection they despise. They thought they held the power, didn't they? They thought they could control the narrative, bend you to their will, make you play their game. But you shattered that illusion with a single, profound act. You walked away. And now, every step you take, every success you achieve, every smile you wear is a reminder of the one thing they can't escape, your independence. The envy beneath the hatred. Hatred is what they show the world. But envy is what burns beneath the surface. They envy your strength, your resilience, and most of all, your ability to live without them. It's a bitter pill for them to swallow, knowing that the very qualities they despised in you are the ones they secretly wish they had. They've spent their lives mastering manipulation, weaving lies, and bending others to their will. In their world, control is power, and they believed they had it all figured out. Then you came along, unbreakable, untouchable, and you refused to play by their rules. That shook them to their core. They hate you for standing tall, for refusing to crumble under the weight of their tactics. But deep down, they're in awe of it. They envy the way you move forward, leaving them behind with nothing but their hollow games. While they remain trapped in their cycles of toxicity, you've risen above, carving out a life of peace and purpose. And that, more than anything, is what drives their hatred. It's not that you left them, it's that you're thriving without them. Oh, they'll never admit it. They'll never acknowledge the jealousy that eats away at their pride. Instead, they'll cloak it in anger, in disdain, in endless stories about how wrong you were, how cruel, how selfish. But no matter how many people they convince, it won't change the truth. Their envy isn't about what you did, it's about what you've become, a testament to everything they lack. They watch from the shadows, don't they? Every step you take, every success you achieve, it's like salt in a wound they can't ignore. They hate the way your happiness lights up a room, the way your confidence shines brighter than ever. It's a reminder of their failure, a reflection of the strength they'll never possess. And that envy, it festers, feeding the hatred that now defines them. But here's the thing, they'll never understand that their envy isn't your burden to bear. It's theirs, just like their hatred. While they remain trapped in their bitter cycle, you're free to grow, to love, to live. Their envy is the shadow they'll carry, while you stand in the light, untouched and unstoppable. The ultimate victory, your peace, their prison. And now, as the final chapter unfolds, their hatred has come full circle. They hate you for everything you've become and everything they could never be. They loathe your peace, your resilience, your independence. But in truth, it's not you they really hate. It's themselves. It's the life they'll never have, the strength they'll never possess, the courage to rise above that they'll never summon. Their hatred is their prison, and they are its sole occupant. They carry it with them wherever they go, a constant reminder of their failure, their inadequacy, and their inability to control someone as powerful as you. You've moved on, thriving in ways they can't even comprehend, while they remain stuck in the web of their own lives. Your life, your happiness, has become the very thing they despise because it exposes the cracks in their own. You, my friend, have won. You've walked away unbroken, untouchable, and stronger than they could ever have imagined. They may continue to stew in their venom, watching from the shadows, but their hatred is no longer your burden. It's theirs to carry, and it will consume them far more than it will ever affect you. As you stand in the glow of your newfound freedom, unbothered and at peace, they'll be left behind, clinging to their fading illusions. They thought they could break you, control you, mold you into something smaller, weaker, but instead, you've become a force to be reckoned with, a symbol of everything they fail to understand. And in that failure, in their defeat, they'll remain trapped in a cage of their own making while you soar higher and higher, living a life they can only dream of. So let them hate, for it's the only thing they have left. You've already won, and no amount of hatred can change that. Their hatred is proof that you've transcended their games, their manipulations, and their attempts to break you. It's their curse, not yours. You are the living testament to resilience, strength, and the power of walking away when you realize your worth. Theirs is a lifetime of regret, while yours is a future of endless possibilities. Let them hate, for they will never have what you found: peace, purpose, and the undeniable truth that you cannot be broken. You've already risen, and they are forever stuck in their own shadows, trying to make sense of a world that no longer revolves around them.